I posted episode 0 with a lot of conviction. I talked about building the vision before the proof, about becoming the kind of designer who could build something remarkable, about creating work with more clarity, more discipline, and more intention. And then honestly, more time passed than I wanted to admit. But the work did not stop. In that time, I created 2 brand identities to practice my craft and start learning what the indie process actually feels like in motion. Not just as an idea, not as a phrase, but as a real process. There was strategy, direction, taste, revisions, doubts, decisions, the part where the work starts pushing back. Because it's easy to talk about the standard before they've even been tested. It is different when you're sitting in front of the work asking, does this actually hold up? That's been the question lately. Not just, can I make something that looks good, but can I make something that feels clear enough, intentional enough, and distinct enough to belong to the kind of studio I say I want to build? That's the question that follows me into everything now. They showed me where my taste has grown stronger. They showed me where my process is still a bit messy. They showed me that I can build interesting directions, but interesting isn't always enough. The work has to know why it exists. And that's where the standard gets real uncomfortable. Because the more seriously I take this, the harder it becomes to accept the work that is almost there. Around the same time, I applied to the Made by James super duper mentorship program. I applied because I wanted to be around higher standard. I wanted sharper feedback. I wanted to see what will happen if I put my work and my ambition in front of someone who has built the creative authority I respect. And I didn't get in this time. That part is simple. Yeah, it stung, but it did not surprise me in the way that made me want to stop. If anything, it made the gap clear. Not the gap between me and someone else, the gap between where my work is now and where I keep saying I want it to go. Because that is the important difference. Rejection can make you defensive if you let it touch your ego first. But if you let it touch the work first, it can become useful. It can show you where the process needs more structure, where the thinking needs more depth, where the execution needs more reps, where the standard needs to stop being something you admire and become something that you practice. And the funny thing is, even though I didn't get into the mentorship, I was given a free online course. So there was something to study, something to apply, something to fold back into the process. And honestly, that matters to me. So I did not want this series to become a record of me pretending to have arrived. I wanted it to show the actual becoming. The attempts, the almosts, the missed opportunities, the lessons, the work that gets better because I refused to turn every setback into a story about failure. So episode 1 is not about rejection. It's about the standard being tested. It's about looking at 2 identities I've made, looking at the opportunity I did not get, and choosing to keep building the process anyway. Sharper, cleaner, more honest, more disciplined. Because the indie process cannot just be something I name. It has to become something I trust. And trust is built through proof. Project by project, decision by decision, revision by revision. Episode 0 was about starting before the proof existed. Episode 1 is about realizing the proof does not appear all at once. You gotta build it. You gotta test it. You're gonna get told no. And you study what you can. And then you go back to work with a better eye. That's where I am now. Not starting over, but sharpening. Maybe that's the real work of this season. Not becoming undeniable overnight, but becoming harder to ignore every time I return to the desk.